Hi all, welcome to Fig and Thistle Books. I'm Amanda, and today I'm announcing an April read-along that I'm super excited about. So, at the end of last year, the lovely people at Oxford University Press sent to many book bloggers and booktubers some lovely cloth-bound classics, and in talking with some other people who received these books, we decided, hey, why don't we do a big readathon in April? So we had some chatter, we had some talk, and we decided it's time for Anna in April. We're going to read Anna Karenina in April, and I'm excited about it. I have read this book once before. I read it in high school. I enjoyed it. The character of Anna made me bonkers. And of course, I read this before I was a mom, before I had relationships with any sort of depth. So I'm wondering how my reading experience now is going to shape up. So first, let me show you this book. It's lovely. Got several. Look at that. Lovely. And let's see here. Oh, lovely. I have to shelf the book. It's so well bound. It's just lovely, pale blue in papers. I got this one and War and Peace and Sense and Sensibility and Crime and Punishment. And so I am just gaga. And I swore I would never try to reread or try to read Crime and Punishment again. But these books are so lovely, I just might do that. So, read along for Anna Karenina in April. It is a big book. Don't be intimidated. This is Tolstoy is a skilled writer, and this is a pretty good, they do their homework when they're picking translator. Oxford doesn't play with translators. So, let's see here. How can I best put this? So, let's just do details. You're going to love it. It's so good. It's so good. I really enjoyed it when I read it in my youth. And I'm excited to see how I will read it now. So, how are we going to do this? The book is divided up into 8 sections. They're called them sections. Yeah, 8 parts. Parts 1 through 8. And each part is roughly between 150 and 200 pages. So, we're going to try to read 2 parts a week. And we're going to have a Twitter chat on Saturday evenings. So this is how the schedule is going to go. And I will put it all down below for you. We're going to use the hashtag Anna in April. Parts 1 through 2 we're going to discuss on Saturday, April 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, because that's when my kids are in bed and I can tweet in peace. Parts 3 and 4 will be Saturday, April 14th at 9 p.m. Eastern. And parts 5 and 6 will be on April 21st at 9 p.m. Eastern. And parts 7 and 8 will be on April 28th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're gonna have a chat on Twitter. If you can't tweet or you get behind, don't worry about it. Just pop in whenever. The only thing I would say is don't talk ahead. So if we're talking sections 3 and 4 and you've already finished the book and you're ready to talk about section 7, just, no spoilers. But, if you get behind and you can only, participate in the very last Twitter chat, that's cool. That's cool. My life is a mess right now. Who knows? I'm hoping I'll get a chance to reread this, but I never know. I may crap out on it. And then what I might do, if people really want it, is then in early May, if we wanted to have any discussions on the book as a whole. But I'm thinking we can talk about the book as a whole on the 28th. So that's our schedule for Anna in April. Feel free to use an audiobook. If that's what works for you, if you've got a long commute, that is fine with me. I did want to caution you on translations. So, I went through a Russian lit phase, like you do, in my youth. And I read, I tried to read Crime and Punishment. I read Anna Karenina. I read War and Peace. And I wasn't picky with my translations. So when I read War and Peace, I got the Constance Garrett. It's either Garrett or Garment. She was a Victorian who translated many, many Russian books. However, and Nabokov has talked about this in several places, she was on a tight deadline, and she kind of just was very loosey-goosey with the translations. So if you read Constance Garrett, I think it's Garrett, why don't I look that up before I do the videos? Translation of a book, you're not really reading a faithful adaptation. And then there was a really big translation war, I want to say in 2007, 2008, when 2 different translations of War and Peace came out. And it was controversial because one translation of War and Peace translated the whole dang thing. So even the French parts, because there's like lines in French, because apparently that's what snooty aristocracy type people do, is they speak in French. And then the other book left the French intact. And there was a huge translation battle because the French was in there for a purpose to distinguish between, okay, we have like the aristocracy speaking in French, and at the same time they're dealing with Napoleon. So it was there for a purpose. And then when it got translated, some people felt like that was lost, and you didn't pick up on that the class differences and the hypocrisy quite so much. So I would say just check, do some Googling, talk to your librarians, do a little bit of investigation when you pick up your translation. This one is translated by Rosamund Bartlett, and writer, scholar, and translator, wrote about Wagner and Chekhov and Tolstoy, published letters. So she's done other anthologies for Oxford's World's Classics, and so she's a more recent translator, and I feel like Oxford is going to do a pretty good job picking a translator here. So, and it's got notes in the back of this book, explanatory notes, which could be quite helpful. I would also say that you might want to, I read War and Peace after college, so that's fresher in my mind than Anna Karenina. You might want to just keep some running notes on characters. Don't be freaked out if their names kind of change midway through. I remember that happening, throw me off. But, I mean, the plot, it's going to be, don't be intimidated by this, okay? Just think of this as like binge watching an entire season of Stranger Things instead of like spacing it out. So this is just, there's a lot of melodrama in here. And it would not fit in 200 pages. So let me know if you're in. Let me know if you're down. Let me know if you've read this, if you want to reread it. And we'll chat on Twitter. And I'll be using the hashtag #AnnaInApril. And April 1st, I'm going to break out my book and get to reading. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Bye.